Lincoln Shrike here once again for the FloXC D2 show. D1s is done, D3s is done. We've got all the recaps, the races up on the site. It's time to put our focus on Division 2. They just had the regional weekend on Saturday, and we will have the national championships on FloTrack December 1st in Pittsburgh. So let's recap the regional action and tell you which teams to look out for at nationals coming up in less than 2 weeks in Pittsburgh. So we'll start things out with our top couple programs in the country, Colorado Mines and Adams State. They ran at the South Central region, always a crazy, interesting region, super competitive. Colorado Mines this weekend, only really their second varsity race of the season, but they took it to Adams State, beat them 49-57. The Orediggers went 1-6-12, 13-17, led by Mr. Grant Colligan. First of all, that Fu Manchu mustache is looking really good. It's challenging mine, I think, for top honors there. We'll see when we go to Pittsburgh. But on the important side, like I said, Colligan got the win, and they beat Adams State. Now, I know it was only regionals, and Adams State kind of has a history of taking every race besides nationals kind of lighter. But there are some concerns when we look at how good Colorado Mines is. Again, they've only run twice this year. Colligan looks like an individual contender, and they've got some All-Americans and some guys on the rise. And with Adams State, yes, they only lost by 8 points, but I'm concerned about this guy, Cale Adams. He didn't finish this race, and overall, he just hasn't been quite as sharp as his form last year when he ultimately finished third at NCAAs. Some big question marks about him, and also Joshua Joseph, who was just 30th at this race. This guy was 9th at NCAAs last year. He was only 30th in the region. I have no doubt that these two will step up their game at nationals, but it's not great to DNF a regional race before nationals. The weather was not good. That's one factor to look at. It was cold and obviously at altitude, but a race in Denver, Colorado is essentially at sea level for a team like Adams State that trains above 7,000 feet. So there are some question marks for Adams State, and more so than there are for Colorado Mines. And that's why we're actually going to have Mines, the #1 squad, heading into the NCAA meet in Pittsburgh. So that's going to be interesting to watch those two go at it. We know Adams State always performs better than they have the all season at nationals, but Mines, you just can't. They deserve the #1 ranking. I mean, they just looked better over the weekend, and Colligan has been perfect this season, and Adams State has some question marks. So that will be the #1 team with Adams State in second, heading into the national championships. Let's kick it over to the women's side. The South Central went down there as well. Alicia Konachek got her second straight win. She's going to be our #1 individual going into the national championships. She's an 8-time NCAA champion on the track. This past weekend, she got her first South Central win, or her second consecutive win and a South Central win. She's still looking for that cross-country title. It's going to be her final college cross-country race in Pitt, and she has looked fantastic, beating everyone from Adams State, beating her teammates, and she just, there's no one else of her championship pedigree that's going to be at the meet. So I believe she's going to be the champion. Now, on the team side, things are a little bit more interesting. Adams State once again went head-to-head with Western Colorado. It was just a 1-point difference between those two schools at the South Central. Adams State once again got the win, with Western Colorado grabbing a 1-point second place. There you see the Adams State ladies. Their spread was just 23 seconds, and that tells you all you need to know about their chances at NCAAs. They'll be favored there. 23-second spread. They'll go for their 18th overall. Just a dominant program ever since the early 90s. Western Colorado, though, they do have a shot, and you're saying, well, of course they have a shot. They only lost by 1 point. But their spread was 53 seconds, so 1 point at a regional is probably going to expand at nationals, but they do have the 4 low sticks, and they really could go 1-2 at nationals with Konachek and Sophie Stewart, who went 1-2 at the South Central. They also have Annetta Konachek, a top 10 finisher last year, and then Kennedy Rufner, who was an All-American on the track. They could really put 4 in the top 10. At that point, they have a really good shot to beat Adams State. We know that Western Colorado doesn't have the 5th at all to match up with Adams State, but if they get 4 in the top 10, Western Colorado could certainly win their first NCAA title. Now, we've talked about those schools all year long. A team that has not been spoken about as much, at least on my end, is UMary. And we need to be chatting about them because, yes, it does look like the team battle will be between #1 Adams State and #2 Western Colorado. But UMary is a team that has 4 All-Americans right now, and they are all running really well. They have Jaden Shute, who's running like a top 5 finisher at NCAAs, and now they have somebody who I didn't foresee coming and didn't think she'd reach back up to the levels that she was a couple years ago, but that's Emily Roberts. She was 5th at NCAAs 2 straight years in 2015 and 2016, but she's been injured for a very, very long time. Really wasn't herself at all last year, her final year at Southern Indiana. And then her first couple races when she transferred into UMary were not that good. She was just in their top 7 or just their 7th runner at Roy Griak. But now all of a sudden she's running right with Chute. She's back to that level of being an All-American level. She was 2nd at the Central region. And now they have somebody who's been 17th in Jaden Chute, somebody who's been 5th there twice in Emily Roberts. They have Ida Narberval, who was 12th 2 years ago. She redshirted last year. And they have Kate Fox, who was in the 20s last year. So 4 All-Americans. They still don't look quite at the level of Adams State or Western Colorado. But again, this was a team that finished 2nd last year, and they were only 11 points behind Adams State. They did lose Alexis Zeiss, but they add in Emily Roberts, and if she's back, and if Chute's better than ever, Narberval's better than ever, and Fox is as well, I mean, this is a team that could certainly win the national title. We haven't really given them their due respect this season, but they absolutely deserve it with Emily Roberts running back to her 2015-2016 levels. This is going to be a scary good team. All right, so we'll kick it on to the men's side of things once again. Got to highlight the Midwest region. Zach Panning and Enel Wanamakel went 2-3. They kind of cruised that region. They've won 17 straight years. They really don't have to work that hard to win their region, so it's not any indication that they're not as good as they were just because they didn't go 1-2. They definitely could have, I believe, if they would have wanted to. But those two are sharp. Panning's been fantastic all year, and Wanamakel has not been that far off. I don't think they have Adams State or Mines depth. It's tough to say because those teams haven't raced, but it just doesn't look like the 4-5, maybe the 3, 4, and 5 for GVSU is as strong as Adams State or Colorado Mines. But we'll see. I mean, GVSU was 2nd last year at Nationals, and they had a very good race. Ooh, they certainly are still in it, and Panning and Wanamakel are the reason for that. Those guys could literally sweep the top 2 places at NCAAs. All right, so quickly over to the Grand Valley State women. They also have a long streak at the Midwest Regional. They won their 18th straight, led by Sarah Berger, who you see holding the trophy. She's the Midwest Athlete of the Year. She won the GLIAC title, the Midwest title, and she's the top returner at NCAA, so watch out for her. In 2nd was Gina Patterson for Grand Valley State. She was 9th at NCAAs all the way back in 2015. If she is on that level, if Allie Ludge is a really, really solid 3, this is another team that could definitely maybe fight for a title. We had them ranked number 1 coming into the season because just of their level of All-Americans. They had an injury. They haven't quite been as good as we expected, and they don't, on paper, have the depth of the 3 teams we mentioned above them, Adams State, Western Colorado, and UMary. But the podium looks super secure on the ladies' side with Grand Valley State, Adams State, Western Colorado, and UMary. And GVSU certainly has a shot. Okay, so we'll move on to our final slide here. We're going to have to talk about the Chico State men. We did talk about them a little bit a couple weeks ago, but they've been incredible thus far. They win the West region going away with a 37-second spread. They just had 39 points, and they were led by the man up front there, Eddie King. Not an All-American coming back. Actually, they have 0 All-Americans coming back from their 9th place team last year, but they look like a totally different squad in 2018, and I think they're getting on the podium this year. He at the West region last year, that's Eddie King. He was only 18th. This year, he won the race. I mean, that's just a giant step in the right direction for him. I think he could be a top 10 guy, and he actually will be ranked in our top 10 individuals heading into the national meet. So watch out for Chico State just because they're not in the RMAC, they're not Grand Valley State, and they haven't really raced a ton of competition. They're going to be a team to watch out for on the podium coming up December 1st. Reminder, you can watch the national championships on FloTrack. I'll be there in Pittsburgh at the Bob O'Connor Golf Course giving you all that coverage. And, well, excited to head out there. Thank you for tuning in, and I am out.